Your socials. Yo, what's
Was
happening? What's
happening?
happening? What's
Was
happening?
happening?
You
I hear.
already know.
Oh yeah, we kicking it off for the playoffs. As you can see, I'm
Yes,
rocking
sir.
305 because the Yankees are trash. But that's another
I
story.
see that, man. Live from our
Hey,
mouths to and computers to your ears. It's another episode of Guessing from the Stands. Chicago 91.
este Dominican Dundada Christian, mi gente, que es lo que estamos aquí, estamos activos. Los playoffs comenzaron y nos fuimos.
Yes, sir, Ski. The
Pero,
MLB playoffs are here, baby.
facts, the
Yes, sir.
great wonderful time of October, the
Yes,
start of the
sir.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm currently watching the Phillies and Marlins game where the
As
Phillies
am
are
I.
up 3-1 right now in the eighth. I think the Brewers game is going on ESPN too. Let me check real quick.
Indeed.
I,
Yep.
okay, so in the top nine, and Arizona's winning 4-3 currently. But while those
Already
games are
know.
going on, we are going to start off with the games that just happened earlier. First, we're going to kick off with the Rays and the Rangers. All right. So before we go to the Rays and Rangers, did you happen to see uh the Rays only had 19,000 fans
I did. That's
and
not
people?
surprising to me.
I don't think is as surprising because it was an afternoon game. People are still working. Like
Um,
I feel like they could.
you're scooting
I
in a
feel like
little bit of bail, but I hear you.
a night game or a weekend game for sure they'll fill more. But I mean, you're talking about a Tuesday afternoon at what 3 in the afternoon? I think
Yeah, I get that,
so. I mean, I see
but
people kind of bashing it, but
yeah,
I it's hard to. But let's kick it off. So the
let's do it.
Rangers ended up coming out victorious for game one, 4-0.
We
Winner
did.
was Jordan. Winner of the winning pitcher was Jordan Montgomery, while the losing pitcher was Tyler Glasnow. Pull up the
Mm-hmm.
box score. Let me actually share my screen. This one. Pull it up. Let's see how this works.
There we go.
Bet. So here, as you can see, we got the
Yes,
box
sir.
score. Looks like the Rangers came out on top in the second inning, striking first. I didn't get
Mm-hmm.
to see much of the game because we got bills to pay, so we was working.
That we do. That we do.
But I mean, the Rangers is a interesting team because they kind of hit a snag and barely like skated their way into the playoffs.
Right.
But nonetheless, they made the playoffs without the help of Max Scherzer, who's out for the year,
Or Jacob DeGrom.
or Jacob Degrom. Bro, see, that man's been hurt so many times, so much that I can't keep up with it. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it's looking like, let me see. So Seager doing what he does, 2 for 4. That man has been an underrated MVP candidate this season.
He absolutely
Um,
has. Of course, he has had one of the better years of his career.
absolutely.
Let me pull up course stats real quick. This year, Corey ended with 33 homers, 96 RBIs, 156 hits, and it hit a whopping 327.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
Definitely an MVP candidate this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me see. Garcia ended up going 1 for 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Low 1 for 5. Heem 1 for 5. Tavares 2 for 5. And looks like yeah. And Carter went 2 for 2, the left fielder. So I
Right.
mean, look, they had 9 hits, 4 runs. Rays were only able to compile 6 hits. Rosarena went 2 for 4, which we all know the story of Rosarena. Mans does it in the playoffs. He turns into Michael Jordan. I'm gonna say it because he
Every
even did
time.
it in the
Every time.
he did it in the World Baseball Classic too, if y'all remember.
Well,
I mean, go ahead.
oh, no. I'm with you.
Oh, I was gonna say, and given it's a 3-game series, it's gonna be interesting how Cash maneuvers. But who's doing game 2?
Yeah, I would say have they announced all starters uh for each game yet? I'm pretty sure they have though.
I'll
Let's
let you
see.
know right now. I'll pull it up.
It's gonna be
Oh, they got
Wednesday.
a Voldy versus Eflin. So that's gonna be an interesting matchup
Mm.
for the most part. Yeah. So I mean, it was a typical game for the Rangers Rays. You know, they're both very good clubs, and everyone knows how October baseball is. It's not your usual, high scoring games. Pitching becomes a lot better,
Right.
and it becomes more of a chess match than anything.
Well,
So go
and
ahead.
I mean, shoot. No, I'm with you. I think, but especially as we get into postseason baseball, because for the next month we're pretty much going to be talking about this regardless. I think as we get into postseason baseball, we're going to see where the adjustments after All Star break really
Came through.
if they paid off or not. Because for a while, a lot of league wide, damn near, unless it was a team like hell, even the Rangers had a decent bullpen. For the most part, it seemed like people couldn't get consistency up until about the middle of July, and they bullpens off the park. I mean, we've been seeing an insane amount of homers going out the park this year. We've been seeing some of the best fielding we've seen, and quite frankly, I think this year as a whole, we've seen quite a bit of key pitchers deal with really tough and long injury roads during this whole season. So, as we're gearing up for a postseason, I'm of the belief, bro, that we're going to see some pretty high scoring just off of the consistency of how the year's been, whether it's in the National League or the American League.
You're not wrong, but I feel like for most clubs that are in the playoffs right now, excuse me, I feel like most clubs in the playoffs right now, they got their necessary pitching back from injury, with the exception of I think really the Rangers, to be honest with you, and the
Yeah,
Marlins.
yeah,
Marlins dealing with some injuries in the starters, but
yeah.
that's the part of October. No one's healthy by the time October rolls by. So the next game is going to be the Blue Jays and Twins. Twins ended up snapping their 18-game losing streak for the
Hey,
playoffs.
hey, listen. Shout out to the Twins getting their first win during the postseason. It's been, oh God, post 20 years of them having actual wins in the postseason. So, shout out
Literally,
to the Twins. Obviously, we're talking about even early to the Kirby Puckett days that the Twins have been winless in the postseason. 18 games that they have missed out. So let's just say hypothetically they never won their division. That's 6 straight postseasons that they made it that they have never won a game. So
well,
yeah, man, shout out to them.
they've also ran into the Yankees, and for some reason, the Yankees have their numbers in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I have no idea.
What was the pitching matchup on Twins and Blue Jays?
So we have Pablo Lopez against Kevin Gausman.
Okay.
Again, another low-scoring game. Twins ended up winning 3-1. Twins ended up
Mm-hmm.
scoring 2 in the first and 1 in the third, and that was all they wrote.
Yeah.
Blue Jays ended up scoring just 1 run off of 6 hits on 6 innings.
I want to have a conversation about Vladdy Jr. because after All-Star break, he took a dive.
Absolutely.
He just either, I don't know if it's health, I don't know if it's nutrition, I don't know if it's a lack of both, but he just doesn't seem as energetic of a player nor as powerful of a player as he was starting out. Remember, starting out the year, first month or two, we were talking MVP.
I mean, this is why we say baseball is a long grueling season.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about 162 plus playoffs.
It's the
It's
litmus
hard.
test in sports.
It's hard to keep up with the consistency of being good, and that shows the difference of the good players to the great players.
Mm-hmm.
He's still young. I think is, if I'm not mistaken, is this their first postseason together?
Who?
The Blue Jays with Vladdy on there? No.
No.
Oh, that
Mm.
that goes to show how much I pay attention to the Blue Jays. I ain't gonna hold you. But no, I think I mean today he ended up going, where's he at? He ended up going 1 for 4. So Not too bad, but I mean Pablo Lopez was also dealing. Mans went 5 and 2/3, only giving up 1 run,
Right.
2 walks, 3 Ks, 5 hits.
Right. Yeah, they played in
So
2020 as well. They made it to the postseason in 2020 and 2022. So
okay, well,
yeah,
2020 was the weird season,
yeah.
but
I'm not gonna get
I
into that.
mean, again, this was another game I didn't really get to see much of because this is the only bad thing about the beginning of the playoffs is a lot of these games are like early. So if you're at work and you can't catch it,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna be able to catch anything. So I mean,
Nah.
I ain't get to see much of it, but from the looks of it, the Twins were also that team in the middle of the pack for the Central. But I will say this: I think they're strong. They're strong. Their backbone of the team is going to be the starting pitching. They got the win with Pablo Lopez, which is perfect. I think they got Sonny Gray going for game 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Let me check. And Sonny Gray was also a Cy Young candidate this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got Gray against Barrios. So I think Blue Jays might take that one. Not gonna hold you.
Um.
Um, I mean,
So you think
Sonny
they
Gray
come back
been
and win?
dealing.
Do they going to have to come back and win 2 straight?
Yeah, I don't see Blue Jays doing that. I ain't gonna hold you. You gotta face if their chance was definitely today against Pablo Lopez, but
Mm-hmm.
they weren't able to get it through. So now you gotta face Sonny Gray, who's a Cy Young candidate this year, who's been
Right.
dealing all season. So I mean, they
Well,
can get
here's
to
the
him. They can
thing.
get to him.
Here's the thing. Tomorrow is a must win situation for them because once
Absolutely.
you set it down to a 1 game series, I mean, truth be told, one game
All, ha-
playoff.
all
All
exactly.
right, right.
All hands on deck.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's again the first 2 scores. It's been pretty low scoring. Again, I think it's the first playoff games got the jitters. I think that
Yeah,
the
maybe.
teams are still gauging on how they're gonna. Well, at least I would say the managers are still gauging how they're gonna do this. So
Mm-hmm. But
so
I also
next,
think,
mhm.
if I'm being honest, I also think you you prepare for things like this, bro. Like
I mean,
for all intents and
per,
purposes, this is when you prepare for those kind of things.
but I feel like you can only prepare so much for this series. Now, once you get, if you advance, it go into like I think it's 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 7. And I think it's 3 out of 5. Once
Right.
you get to the 3 out of 5 series, there you can prepare differently and better. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting how Blue Jays are gonna respond to game 2, and same goes for the Rays.
I agree.
Rays being the home team, uh, you know, I thought they'd at least get one at home, but hey, they can probably get one tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, let's go
Damn.
on to the next series.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go to the next series. Diamondbacks and Brewers after the D-backs were up 4-3. Devin
Mm-hmm.
Williams just gave up a 2-run double to make it 6-3. Um,
Indeed.
I thought the Brewers were gonna make some noise, but I kind of kept up a little bit with Arizona, and Arizona was like that scrappy team. Um,
Well, yeah, Arizona picked up a lot of traction after June,
yeah,
and
I
they
think they
really
have the Rookie of the Year winner in
right.
Corbin Carroll. So I mean they were like I said they were up 4-3, and Milwaukee brought in their probably one of the best closers in the game right now, and
Mm-hmm.
gave up a 2-run double, which don't want to do that to. But
Yeah.
it's still games going on. This is gonna be an interesting matchup. Like we said, Diamondbacks are a pesky team, but like you said, they gained traction like after June. So they just finished the inning, so they're up 6-3
Yep.
right now. We're going to the bottom of the ninth, and it looks like they got Contreras, Santana, and Kana up. Contreras is 2 for 3 for the night. Carlos Santana is 1 for 4, and Mark Canna is 0 for
Right.
4. So I mean, but we've seen crazier things in October baseball. So I wouldn't be shocked if they erase a deficit and tie the game up. So it's gonna be interesting. This is gonna be an interesting series, to be honest with you. This and the next series we're gonna go into the Braves and Phillies. Um, I see Diamondbacks pulling up the upset and advancing to the series. I don't know. I don't know why. I just do.
I'm gonna get a Brewers a fighting chance. Now, granted, tomorrow obviously is gonna tell us whether or not to, but I'm gonna get a Brewers a fighting chance.
Hey man, I
I'm
mean,
not sold off it. I do. I agree. 6 runs is nothing to sneeze at, but the reality of it is, you know, for what it's worth, I think that the way that the Brewers have had consistency in the middle of their I almost said depth chart, in the middle of their batting lineup, they've
absolutely.
always been able to control the pace if things couldn't get going, and they usually, especially throughout the second half of the season, have had what I like to call, well, I'm not even going to use the philosophy. They've been a team that can truly keep up with the Joneses and keep up with everything from whatever your offensive output is, and their hitting has been a lot more fielding than it's just been relying on homers. Like when you look at teams like Atlanta, Atlanta has been very, very fortunate to have batters that can go yard. The Brewers not
We'll,
so much, but they're really
we'll speak.
scrappy.
We'll speak on Atlanta when that series
Yeah,
comes
let's
up.
speak on Atlanta when that's, but I'm just talking about for the Brewers. They've always had a
Oh no,
way
for sure.
to fight in
Oh,
between the bases versus
absolutely.
relying on going yards. So I'm
And
not ready to count them out yet, but I'm not going to say you're wrong either.
yeah, I think what it is with the Brewers. I think that damn
Wow.
Philly just scored right now.
Yeah, they just scored.
I think with
Jesus.
the Brewers, the backbone
Yep,
is
it is.
their backbone is their hitting. I think they got great starting pitching. I don't know about their bullpen with the exception of Devin
Mm-hmm.
Williams, but that's a closer. So in between your starters and your closer, who you got to bridge the gap?
Mm-hmm.
Hook that. So that game's still going on. Like I said, you give Brewers a fighting chance. I got Diamondbacks in this tomorrow. And as we currently speak on this game right here, the Marlins
Let's talk.
versus Phillies. Let's
Let's
talk
talk about
about
it.
it.
Now. Let's not
I,
be homers because we do reside in South Florida. Let's not be homers.
oh no, we're being. I'm gonna
What
be a
they,
homer and realist at the same time.
okay, okay.
I said realist and homer.
Yeah.
Um,
So let's.
I
I'm gonna take your lead on it.
I actually I had Miami probably winning in three their game.
Okay.
Uh, given most of these guys it's their first playoffs with the exception of Jazz, Sandy, and Birdie.
I'm
Sandy's
gonna
out
say
of
Jazz is there in
injury.
2020, I think, right?
Yeah, so Jazz
Yeah.
and John Birdie were the only teammates from 2020 team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they went with Jesus Luzardo for game one, who's been immaculate on this season. Especially with their ace Sandy going down. Um, you know, it was I thought he would have had a better game, but again, he had his nerves going.
Right.
But also at the same time, Zach Wheeler was dealing. I'm talking dealing,
100%.
bruh. This man went 7 1/3,
Right.
and the Marlins had no answer for his arsenal. But
Mm-hmm.
also, which I didn't know, the Marlins also led the league in comeback wins after the seventh inning trailing. They had 16 of those. So
They
it
did.
ain't over. It is not over till the final out when it comes to the Marlins, at least.
It's not.
Um, I still don't. I had them. Like I said, I had the Marlins winning three. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. They're gonna play. What's the bracket? I think they're gonna play the Braves. They're gonna play the Braves if they advance out this. Now that's gonna be interesting because I've been saying it all season. The Braves have been nonstop amazing, but I don't know if they're gonna bring that success into the playoffs. I don't know why. I I could be wrong. So I mean, it's gonna be.
Listeners, I'm not a Braves fan, but I always do have love for them just because all of my family roots in Atlanta. I'm
Oh,
not a Braves fan. Yeah,
I always have love for the Braves. I'm just saying this year for some reason I feel like their pitching isn't as strong as it was last year. So
yeah, that's true.
their hitting carried them all season. With the exception of Strider, of course. Um, but that's when we get to that series. Back to the Marlins and Phillies.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. We were
this,
just
this
you
series
know
is gonna
talking.
be interesting. I think Phillies for sure got a more all around talented lineup, top to bottom, bullpen as well. But the Marlins are no slouch either. They are that pesky team that anything could happen. Like I said, everyone has a clear cut. This is why I like baseball because there's a favorite, but you don't know if that's going to be that favorite because we've seen it all where we think we the favorite's supposed to win, next thing you know they get knocked out. So
So here's why I'm. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
oh no, I was gonna say so it's going to be interesting to see how the series plays out. I mean, listen, Marlins are only down three runs right now, so anything can happen. They can still
Three
score.
runs, top of the ninth. Only down 3 runs.
Yeah, it's only down 3 runs. They've done it before. They've been down 4, so
I
it's
mean,
going to be
yeah, of
interesting.
course, a lot of things have happened in baseball before. I'm not going to argue that. Here's what I'll say. I think the Marlins just flat out don't have enough firepower, whether it's in the bullpen or in their batting lineup, to match with the Phillies. I think the Phillies are really, really they're very underseeded. They had a stretch where they caught, the injury bug and stuff like that. But truth be told, the Phillies could have won the NL East. They could have won.
Absolutely. I don't know
Atlanta was
because
Atlanta was very, very fortunate with injuries and with health on their side.
Atlanta's
Atlanta
been
was very
fire from
no, they
from
have
game one
from
to
the get go. I'm with you,
162.
but I don't think that. Okay, I look at in the NL East like this. It's Atlanta. Let me see. Atlanta,
Phillies.
Phillies,
I'm going Marlins, then Mets,
Marlins,
then
and then out
Mets.
of the screen is then
Yeah.
everybody else. Yeah, I don't need to see anything else. But
No,
Atlanta,
which I wholeheartedly agree. Absolutely.
Marlins, everybody else. And I just don't. I mean, shoot, we've seen 3 teams out of this division make playoffs. I don't have a problem with that. My issue that I'm having is honestly and truthfully, I just don't see the Marlins having enough power on either end to make this a real series. I feel they're scrappy. I'm with you. They scrappy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But just for me, I think the Marlins didn't catch their stride in time this year because they were dealing with injuries, so many injuries in the middle of the season.
Absolutely. Well, they got
That's
hit with
the
injury.
only thing that I'll say is their injury bug hit them a little too further out in the season. Well, you got to think, bro. They contended. The Phillies were contending for the division. The Marlins contended for the playoffs just a few days ago, and I'm not saying that that the Marlins are by any or that Phillies by any means just on a gun ho way to the World Series, but I'm telling you, this year feels really special for Bryce, Nick Castellanos, and Philly's a team that's auditioning because out of one of them,
Josh Bell just
I
off
just
the
saw
wall.
off the wall. I saw. Philly is auditioning because one of them, whether it be Trout or Shohei, I feel like is going to end up in Philly. Probably Trout.
Trout. I think Shohei going to the Dodgers.
Probably. But yeah, but either way, we're not talking that today. Give me Philly in 3.
But what capital do the Phillies have for Trout?
Shit.
That's Trout's asking price is gonna be hefty because you gotta take on that contract.
Ain't about it. We'll figure it out. Ain't about it. The only thing that's not expendable is Harper. Other than that,
Harper
hey,
and Trey.
and Trey. Yeah, Harper and Trey Turner. Other than that, oh well. Bet the farm on them. But we'll talk about that another time.
Absolutely.
What's the last series that we need to go through?
That's it. The wild card started.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so real quick, let's go around. Give me your winners out of each series in what?
All right. Give me Rays and Rangers. Give me the Rays in 3.
Rays in 3.
Twins and Blue Jays. Give me the Twins in 2.
Okay.
Arizona and Milwaukee. Give me Arizona in 3.
Okay.
And let me be a homer and give me the Marlins in 3.
Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. Well, hey, you got no argument. We'll be there. Once we get into divisional rounds, we'll have full breakdowns because we're actually going to have a full 7-game series. We'll have full breakdowns of each matchup. And then we'll be going from there. We just want
to. We can actually watch the games too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we just wanted to give y'all a little bit of a little bit of a preview on not a preview, but a little bit of our thoughts on the first round of the MLB playoffs. Obviously, as things rev up, we will be too. Of course, we'll be back on Wednesday live to discuss everything in college football. Me and Christian will be opening up, following up with our with what's going on the second day of the wild card round. And then we'll be going into college football. It's media day in the NBA and the NFL as well. So we got a lot and a lot of bit of time. Christian, where can everybody find you?
At Instagram is Christian H31 and on Twitter is Christian H_31.
You already know.
And Fire Matt Canada too.
I co-sign that. With that being said, we out.
We out.
Peace.